Welcome everyone. This video is going to be a video response to TowerguardDM, Wyne, and his video on what characters are you currently playing. Just wanted to give you guys a little look into some of the characters I've been playing or just finished playing recently. The first character I want to talk about was a character named Vandrin. He was a level 12 Galil from 3.5. We were playing a Savage Species campaign. He was a Angel of Heronius. The campaign was planar travel. We were jumping around from plane to plane, trying to stop this demon war and this demonologist. So it's pretty crazy. It was a lot of intense stuff. Vandrin was the strong, silent type kind of guy. He let the others do the talking, but then he stepped up when things were getting a little out of hand and just would take charge and say, you know what, we're done here, and then just let his giant Bane hammer just do the talking for him. He loved battle. I would stride forward as Vandrin and just fly into battle and take on scores of demons. I didn't stand for the injustices that I saw the demons wreaking upon the plains. Let's see, what else can I tell you about Vandrin? He was a lot of fun to play. He was the most respectful person to the other deities that we would meet. We met a lot of the deities and demigods from 3.5 campaign settings and worlds and general deities. Some of my favorite moments with Vandrin were just these crazy scenarios that we would get into. I remember, I think it was the second session, we're walking along, me and my party, and from out of nowhere, literally a rift in the plains opens up, and out come like 12 Githyanki, and rolled a natural 20 on initiative. What does Vandrin want to do? Charge right into battle, but he sees he's kind of outnumbered in enemies, so what does he do? Chain lightning. Natural 20, chain lightning. And I hit all of them, and I killed them all with one shot. It was pretty nice. He had the cleric ability, or cleric spell, Slay Living at one point, so I battled a Medusa at one point, and I just got to go up and just touch the Medusa, and it died. I burned a demon's face off with Cure Serious Wounds. I don't know. Vandrin was fun. He was a pretty high level character, but he was that respectful player. So, and he was that respectful character. Just he was the tank. This guy had like over 200 something health, damage reduction 10, and like everything. And these were just like natural racial abilities. Vandrin was a blast. Oh, my favorite kill with Vandrin was we had to fight this vampire, and she was flying with the spell, and I fly up into the air, and over the course of several turns, hold monster. She plummets to the ground, taking falling damage, falls to the ground. I, as Vandrin, take my giant, I called it the big-ass Bane Hammer of Dawn, because it was a golden hammer, and it had a rising sun etched into it, and it was +2 against evil outsiders. It was crazy. It was huge hammer. It was like, think of Thor's hammer, the Norse god, and then multiply it by like 10. This was this hammer. It was so cool. And then I, on my next turn, drop the hammer onto the vampire as a free action, so it plummets from the sky down onto the vampire who's unable to move, and then chain lightning through the hammer into the vampire and some other creatures that were surrounding the now fallen vampire for the kill. It was glorious. It was my favorite kill the entire time. So that was Vandrin. That was my angel, my Galil. And now we move on to we finished that campaign and moved on to another campaign. This one is another D&D 3.5 campaign. And this was a barbarian-ish kind of campaign. It was tribal. So I played a shifter, who wound up being, by the time we were done with this campaign, we just finished this campaign. a couple weeks ago, and he was a shifter, level 14. He had 6 levels in Ranger, and he had 8 levels in the Beastmaster Prestige class, which allowed him to have 3 or 4 animal companions at one time. It was crazy. So, as a shifter, he had the werewolf ancestry, so he could shift and had a better AC. He had this ability to speak with animals, and his name was Seotin, which is, I believe it's Celtic for the archer, so I thought that was fitting. And Seotin had an evolutionary kind of thing. He started off a lot like Vandering. In the beginning, started out that quiet guy, reserved in the back. And then I decided that that wasn't as much fun as I was hoping it was going to be with Seotin. So, after about the 3rd session, I turned Seotin into the cocky, no holds bar, I'm the best of the best kind of character. And Seotin started to evolve in the story, and he got some special items. We were all getting special items at certain points in the game, and I got this legendary bow. It was called Cobalt's Gaze, and was made from the rib bone of a dragon, and it did electricity damage to the arrows when you fired them. That was twice a week that you could do it, and it also had, what else did it have? Had some other, it had True Strike twice a week. So as a ranger, I took Many Shot, and I had True Strike on the bow. So imagine Many Shot. So I'm firing up like to 4 or 5 arrows, then turning them into electricity damage, and then firing from this bow with True Strike. So Seotin was doing pretty hot on his rolls at like level 5, shooting off 6 arrows on a turn into enemies and then doing electricity damage. So Seotin began calling himself the legendary Beastmaster of Legend. That's how he would introduce himself. We'd meet up with all these other NPCs or other characters, and Seotin would stride forward and be like, "Excuse me, I'm Seotin, legendary Beastmaster of Legend." And that would be how he introduced himself. And that kind of pissed off some of the party, because I was the first one to get a legendary item. And they were like, "Oh, okay, well, we'll get our legendary stuff." And then Seotin got something else. His first animal companion was a legendary wolf of the White Fang clan. And the White Fang clan is the shifter tribe in the game world that we were playing as. Now, this legendary wolf was supposed to be the original savior of the White Fang clan. It was the original wolf that started the White Fang clan. And if anybody knows, I believe it's Monster Manual 4 and 3.5, I might be mistaken, but it has the legendary animal stats. My DM gave me the legendary wolf stats, and now we're talking like attack rolls. This is, I rolled the d20 and I rolled 3, but it gets like a plus 19 to hit, so I'm doing 21 versus AC at like level 4. And that was my number 2 legendary moment. So that boosted Seotin even more in his confidence level and cockiness, which, needless to say, upset the rest of the party. But so Seotin, legendary Beastmaster of Legend, continued his forte, and he also was, being tribal, we didn't have money, we used bartering system. So Seotin picked up skinning and leatherworking, and so throughout the game I would skin stuff, and I wound up skinning, I skinned a Hydra, I skinned a half dragon. Don't ask. It's crazy storyline, crazy times. So, needless to say, Seotin has a lot of stuff, a lot of skins, and so he crafted his own armor, which was amazing. It was crafted with a dire cougar pelts, which he turned into dire cougar leather with Crenshaw embellishment, which then was studded with diamonds that gave him Cat's Grace, which is acts as the spell Cat's Grace. Then he crafted himself a cape made from winter warg and half dragon pelt, and what that gave me was immunity to natural cold. So snow, ice, all of that I was immune, and while wearing this cape. And then the reverse side with the half dragon gave me a resist 5 acid damage to the cape, because the half dragon was a half dragon that had black dragon blood in it. So now I crafted all these items myself, and then the buckle on the cape was the skull of the half dragon and the winter wolf, just right there as a clasp on the cape, so I could rip it off and then put it back on. That was the clasp. And then to top it all off, we found a shaman who had 2 golden eyes. And when we killed him, because he was evil, when we killed him, we learned that one eye was true seeing and the other one was true strike. Well, I already had the true strike, so I took the eye of true seeing. And we went to some elves, and we asked them if they could be surgically implanted. So Seotin has his right eye is entirely gold and gives him true seeing at will, just constant. It's just constant true seeing with this eye. So that would screw with a lot of people. So he covers it up half the time, and then just lifts it up, and you can see it. It was crazy. And so we've got awesome cape, we've got awesome armor, awesome eye. He can shift into a werewolf form. He's got a legendary bow. He's got a legendary animal companion, and then he gets 2 more animal companions as the game went on. He got a snow leopard, and my absolute favorite, and it didn't have the campaign going long enough for me to actually use it to its fullest, a dire polar bear. Yes, a dire polar bear animal companion. It was still like a young cub, so it had grizzly bear stats, I believe, is what it had. But it was going to grow up into a dire polar bear. So Seotin, legendary Beastmaster of Legend, is rather legendary, I would say. And playing him was a blast. I loved Seotin. I got to be the cocky player. I got to be like just tearing everybody apart. I was like, oh yeah, Seotin, legendary Beastmaster of Legend. I'm the greatest. I can do this. Oh, stand aside. Let Seotin, legendary Beastmaster of Legend, take care of this. And it wasn't just the cocky level. I actually got to pull off some amazing things. We were fighting. Oh, what were we fighting? We fell down a tunnel. We fell down, and it was a hole in the ground. We fell through it, and there was a giant pit of water below, and it was like an underground lake. And so we fall down into this lake, and I rolled like a natural 20 on acrobatics. So I do this nice tumbling dive down into the water, and then splash, and there was like, we made a joke, it was like an Olympic dive, 10 points across the board. And then there was something in the water. I can't remember what it was. Something big. I think it was a water elemental. There was a water elemental hiding in there. And the rest of my party made perception checks while falling somehow to see if there was anything in the water. And they had like attached themselves to the ceiling through ropes, and our druid shapeshifted into a griffin and caught everybody else. And I just said, you know what, I'm just going to go to the water. And then I summon a porpoise using the ranger spell, and then I just go to shore, this small shoreline. And then this giant water elemental just comes up out of the ground. And I look up at my party and I say, Seotin's got this. And then I pull back my bow, my cobalt gaze, roll with true strike, and my lightning damage, and my mini shot, and my secondary attack. And because it's a water elemental and it's weak against electricity, I wound up doing over 185 damage to this thing in one turn. Best kill ever. Needless to say, that made the party pretty upset and jealous that Seotin, legendary Beastmaster of Legend, just killed a thing in one shot. So that was my character, Seotin, legendary Beastmaster of Legend, and I quite miss him since we wrapped up that campaign a couple weeks ago. And I'm really thinking about trying to find a way to import a character like that into some of my game worlds, into my setting, and my current campaigns. Just because I have some players that were in that group with me, and they would instantly recognize him and hate him and just despise him so much. But I think it would be a blast. So there you go, Wyne. Those are some of the characters I've been playing. I'd love to hear about anybody else's characters, and hopefully everybody's enjoying this wonderful May the 4th. And let's get some more videos up in the rest of the day. See you guys later.